Yo, so far, everything I said about this coronavirus has been to the point, right? Everything I said. You got new evidence or new research that's been done that says that the virus was here in the United States as early as, December, maybe September, which is, I said that months ago, right? And everybody thought I was crazy. They got new evidence saying that the virus was in France in September, right? So all that confirms the fact, or my argument, right? Because everybody thinks I'm fucking psycho, that the virus was here in the United States. Now, who created the virus? Where did it actually come from? Is still out for debate. Nobody really knows. We don't have the smoking gun for that. So we can just speculate, try to see who it is. But I know one thing. It was here in the United States way before China, okay? So when the U.S. government gets up there and says this is a Chinese virus and it started in Wuhan, and early on I just looked at all the evidence and I said, something kind of funny here, right? And I said, nah, there's something's real funny here. I've been right so far. Now, people like to believe their government, especially Americans, right? Americans like to put their whole faith in the United States government as if the United States government is some type of truth seeker, right? Like, we already know, number one, they lied to us on national TV, right? They went on TV and told people it was nothing. It was just a cold. It was going to come and go, right? I remember when it was 12 people dead, and they were saying Trump and everybody else, and not just Trump fault. This is the whole U.S. fault, states fault, everybody. Here in New York, the government here in New York, same thing, because I was working for tourism, and while all this was going on in China, you still had all those tourists coming from Italy, France, because I was the tour guide on Big Bus, and we didn't have no more Haitian people coming on the tour bus. But I seen all these Europeans coming, and I was saying to myself, yo, this shit don't make no sense. You got a virus that's spreading globally, everywhere, even in Europe, and they're still allowing the Europeans coming from Europe, right? But that just shows you how biased and racist the United States is, because, everything is China, and they want to brainwash us here in the United States that the problems around the world is always either China or Russia, right? Venezuela or Iran. When you really look at it, the problems, to me, is the United States, because they want to rule the entire earth, right? But anyway, they went on TV and just lied to us, straight lied to us, right? And said, oh, it's nothing, don't worry about it, it's just a cold, it's gonna come, it's gonna go, there's only 12 people dead, right? Then they went on TV and just confused the fuck out of everybody, except people like me, right? About this mask issue, and 12 months later, fucking Americans are still debating about whether a mask doesn't work, right? But they went on national TV and told the whole population on TV, they told them not only to not wear a mask, right? But they told people that masks didn't work on TV. I remember that the bald-head Surgeon General, the black guy, he was even making fun of people or ridiculing them because they was running out to go buy masks, right? I bought my mask as soon as China let everybody know about, or China either let us know, and then I found out about the Chinese guy that leaked the information out. But by then, China had already told everybody what was going on, right? So I had ordered a mask way before the United States decided to tell people it wasn't even working. I said, you know what? I'm still going to wear a mask. I went to work. Everybody was looking at me like I was crazy, right? Because I was the only one wearing a mask. But anyway, so the government lied to you straight on national TV, told you masks didn't work. Don't go out and buy masks. Everything's going to be fine, right? Then they told you exactly why they didn't want to shut down the economy, right? And that was because of profits. They was going to lose money. Like, they went on TV and told you this shit straight out their mouth, right? We're not going to close the economy because it's going to hurt, the money. It's all about the money. So they decided, we need to keep things moving, have this money generating. That's why they didn't want to stop the tourists coming from Europe, right? Because especially here in New York City, it's like the fourth money maker. So that's why they didn't want to. And they kept trying to hold it off until finally it got to the point where they was forced to close the shit down, right? They was forced to close the shit down. So they lied to us the whole time. Then months later, I was saying the whole time this shit was airborne, right? Of course, everybody thought I was crazy. Months later, it gets revealed that the shit was airborne. Like I was saying, it was airborne. They was hiding it from us, right? And, they were just spreading all this misinformation. Our government, the United States government, spreading all this information about this virus. And people were running with it, right? And then you had people out in the streets just debating with each other, right? You had the people that were taking the side of the U.S. government. You had the people who were saying, hey, something fishy here. And they were just going, everywhere you went throughout the country, they were just going back and forth. Just like now, it's still going back and forth, right? So they lied to us the entire time. And people still have faith in their government. So now, after that, right, after we found out that they was lying about how it was spreading, that they was lying about masks, right? I told people they're doing herd immunity, right? And herd immunity basically is when you let the population get infected while you work on a vaccine. And then eventually, once the population, at least 80% in the population gets infected and you got the vaccine, that'll create immunity for everybody else that doesn't have it, right? And I told people they was doing herd immunity. Of course, everybody thought I was crazy, right? It's like, no. Now, when you look on TV, on the news, that's all they talking about is herd immunity. They've been doing herd immunity, right? Now, the interesting thing was, and I posted this video a long time ago. I probably deleted it, though. But I remember they was having an interview. Let me take a sip of this coffee. I remember when they was asking this Chinese doctor about herd immunity, whether or not China would think of the option of, going through with herd immunity. And this was the Chinese doctor's response. He said, no, we're not going to conduct herd immunity because in order to conduct herd immunity, that means millions of people will have to die. So in the United States, you have about 360 million people that live here. 80% of the population has to basically get infected. And I don't know, I'm not a good math person, but based on the articles I see, that's about 2 million people dead, right? You might say that's not a lot compared to 360 million that live here, but that's 2 million people that are going to die unnecessarily. Like, there's no need for 2 million people to die. There's no need for it to die, right? But when they asked a Chinese doctor whether they was going to use herd immunity, he said no. And he said the reason we're not going to use herd immunity is because too many people will die if we decide to go through with herd immunity. And I said, wow, like China is saying this shit, right? Because the U.S. keeps claiming that China's so bad and they're a threat and we need to take them down. If it's not China, it's Russia, right? So meanwhile, while that doctor was saying that over there, because I've been following this shit to the bone, we was over here in China and I heard these politicians on TV say this shit. They was already mentioning herd immunity. They were saying we're not going to close the economy anymore because we're going to lose money. So they figure we can do herd immunity. Now, again, the same thing. They didn't tell us about how the virus was airborne. And so they was lying about herd immunity at the same time. And so in the same way that you go out into the street and you got people who say, yo, you know, this is being spread airborne. And then you got people who listen to the government say, no, everything's going to be fine, right? In Congress, you have people the same way, right? You got certain politicians that probably feel a certain way, and then you got other politicians that feel the other way. But the whole thing was that they all, I bet you, you know, we can't prove this, but you can tell from the circumstantial evidence. And that's that they started implementing herd immunity. And I bet you most of the Republicans, I know Democrats is in there too, but I bet you most of the Republicans, because they was the most vocal with this herd immunity stuff. They wanted herd immunity. And they felt like that's how we're going to reach immunity faster. And we don't want to close the economy down because the United States economy is fucked up. It's not even a real economy anymore. The Federal Reserve just keeps buying everything because they keep, you know, creating more money because they got the printing machine. So they buy everything up. It makes it look like the economy is going up when it's not. We don't make shit here in America, right? All our jobs, we sent everything across the world because we get to pay somebody across the world $3 an hour instead of paying them over here $15, $17 an hour, right? So we decided ourselves, Biden was a part of that, remember that, to send all our jobs across so we don't make shit. But they've been lying to us this whole time about this coronavirus. So now we got like the last week, or last 2 weeks, we had about 2,000 people every day in a 24-hour people dying, according to the data, right? The last 2 days, we had 3,000 people dying in a 24-hour period. So a lot of people don't think it's a lot because when it came from Europe here to New York City, in New York City, we had about 700 people dying a night. And that was a lot for New York City. Every night, 800 people dying. So now it's more spread out throughout the United States, where you have 200 dying in Chicago, 200 dying in Texas, 200 dying in Michigan. So it's more spread out across the United States. But nonetheless, all together, we've been having like 3,000 people dying. So it's worse. It's way worse than the summertime. And on top of that, the number of people that have been admitted into the hospitals is way worse, according to the data, right? So we got like 27,000 people in ICU. And according to the nurses, if you go to the ICU, you're probably going to die. Or most of the nurses tell you that, all right? If you end up going on the ICU, you're probably going to end up dying, right? It's just going to keep you with a bunch of tubes for maybe 2 weeks, a month. But eventually, most people die. Not everybody, but most people die. But it's worse. The pandemic is way worse now. Now, the kids, we all know that the older you are, the more likely is that you're going to die from COVID-19. If you're younger, you're more likely to survive it, right? So now, for example, here in New York City, they have everything closed, bars and stuff like that. They want to close all that, but they want to keep the schools open. Why do you think they want to do that? Because they're doing herd immunity. And so they figure with the kids, being that it doesn't affect them as much as it affects older people, we'll allow them to go to school. If they do get it, it's all right because it's not really going to, the virus not really going to do nothing to it. And that'll help further or the progress of herd immunity, which I've been saying for the longest, right? Everybody thinks I'm fucking psycho. And so that's what they're doing. The problem is, look, we just had a 9-year-old boy in our circle, right, test positive for COVID-19. So now that 9-year-old boy, I don't know where the heck got it. Nobody knows where he got it, but I went back and got tested yesterday or the day before yesterday. And my test results is negative again. So I got tested twice in 12 months, and I've been negative both times. I don't understand how people keep getting this virus. I got tested twice, and I'm negative both times, right? But anyway, this 9-year-old got the virus. Nobody knows how he got it. And so, you know, the 9-year-old gets it. He bring it back home to his parents. But they're letting the kids go to school because they're doing that herd immunity crap, right? And just remember this. In order to reach herd immunity, millions of people have to die at the end, right? And The United States government is okay with that. They're okay if millions of people die of the virus. You know why? Because they need to keep the economy rolling, right? Because they need to make money, right? It's more important to make money than to save lives. And plus, all these politicians, all these wealthy people that are making all this money, you know, they're in good hands. They have access to good doctors because they have money. They're barely going to come into contact with people, right? Because they live far away. They got these big homes. You know, they get to stay away from people. They don't have to come into contact like here in New York City where you have to interact with people every day. So they don't really care about that shit. The stimulus check, look at that stimulus check, right? That shit is so fucking hilarious, right? They actually want the states to go bankrupt. They don't want to give us any more money, but they don't care. The government does not care about you. The more people dead for them is even better, especially if they're old people, right? They don't have to pay out that Social Security and all that shit. But anyway, just wanted to say that this whole time I've been right. Everything I've been saying about this virus and all the new data that's coming out showing that the virus was here way before China. And I think that's the reason why you got so many people infected in the United States, right? Because it was here way before China. And I don't know where it started. You know, some people say that it started here in the United States, that it came out from a lab, all that. Nobody really knows. But just based on the percentage of people that's infected in the United States, right? It's like so obvious that it was here way before China. It's so fucking obvious, right? But you still got people out there debating, want to justify. They're in denial. Don't want to admit they was wrong this whole time, right? In the beginning, you had 12 people dead. You know, they were justifying it then. Oh, it's nothing. Now you got 300,000 people dead. They still trying to pick at straws, trying to justify the shit, right? The United States, complete catastrophe in how they handled this situation. And that's because the United States, all they worry about is money. Money, money, money. How much money can I make? You know, who cares if other people die just as long as I make extra money? That's all they care about. And that's the reason we're going with what we're going through now, right? So now another thing that's going on around the internet is the people who claim that the whole virus is fake. Now listen, I don't got no problem changing my view and saying, oh shit, I've been wrong, if you can just show that the virus is fake, right? So the easiest way to show that the virus is fake is go around and record the shit. Go in the hospitals, record it, see if there's people in the hospitals or not, right? Because, yeah, I do understand. Listen, I do watch the news. I see them always showing trucks. A lot of them trucks they show is empty. They got all these tents around. They always showing the tents empty, right? I remember when Italy was going through it, journalists were actually going inside the hospitals in Italy and showing video footage of the people in ICU. Here in America, they don't show none of that shit. None of it. So, you know, can there be the possibility that it's fake? Yeah, there's a possibility. Anything is possible, but you got to show it. Where's the evidence? And if you want to, you know, smash this debate right down the middle, then all you need is video. Go inside a hospital undercover or something, record the shit. But if you're just gonna say it's fake and don't have no proof that it's fake, you know, then I'm gonna continue to wear my mask. Why? Well, because everything is uncertain. And so I'm going to protect myself. I'd rather be safe than sorry. You know what I mean? But one thing's for sure, the government, our government has been straight out lying to our faces since the pandemic started. So I don't believe anything the government says to me. And so stay safe out there. I'm still negative. I don't know how these fools keep getting positive. Of course, now they're going to force everybody to get this so-called vaccine, whether you like it or not, because you're not going to be able to work, go to school, or do anything, or even fly on a plane if you don't get a vaccine. So let me cut it out. Enjoy the rest of your day.